Hey everyone, what is up? It's Belinda back with another video for you. Now, we are moving on to a bit more of a fun, light-hearted video because yes, there's been a lot of kind of heavier videos recently. So I just wanted to do something a little bit more fun and a bit more what I call kind of silly, irrelevant tea. So let's get into this one. Jaclyn Hill has come under a little bit more scrutiny because once again, mold in her palettes. Now, there was this girl on TikTok, she's come out and she said, I've got tea for TikTok, showed her Jaclyn Hill Vault palettes, which are growing big green lumps of mold in them. It's gross. I'm going to insert the clip for you here.
You see these? Have some tea. For TikTok. When I tell you I'm shook, yes, I'm shook. No hate to Jaclyn Hill or Morphe. Just wait. How does this happen to a palette I've touched once? Like, what? Before you say, oh my god, you stored it wrong. I have drawer upon drawer. Organized and cleaned every week. This one is like one of my favorite palettes. You can see I play in it all the time. Now I'm scared. If anybody knows why this happened, how it happened, let me know. Now I'm out like 80 bucks. I'm kind of sad about it. Tell me.
So of course, this isn't the first time we have seen mold in a Jaclyn Hill product. When Jaclyn Hill released her nude lipstick collection, there was this whole big drama lipstick gate about it because if you remember, she had all these moldy, hairy lipsticks. People conducted science experiments with them and everything. They had microscopes out, all of this. It was funny. Unfortunate for Jaclyn, but it was funny for the rest of us to watch. So people were finding shards of glass, bits of plastic, mold, you name it, in those lipsticks. Then these Vault palettes, I believe I've also seen other people with mold in those before. So I don't know if that's a Morphe quality issue or what. But this isn't the first time that the Jaclyn Hill palettes have been shown with mold in them. So I don't know if it's a case of Morphe keeping old stock or what. But, you know, isn't it shit the customers are getting palettes with mold and stuff growing in them? I mean, it makes you really kind of suspect about purchasing from Morphe, doesn't it? Like, or is it just me? But honestly, how can you give customers palettes that are old and growing things in? It's gross. But I don't know if we're going to start seeing improvements with Morphe because they've now been invested in as of August this year by Forma Group. Now, Forma Group are a beauty brand accelerator, apparently. So it means they invest in the brands and try and grow the brands. Jaclyn Hill's own cosmetics brand is now owned, or part owned at least, by this Forma Group. So Jaclyn is not actually the CEO of Jaclyn Cosmetics. We found all that out earlier this year. I made a video about it. Dustin Daly made a video about it. I think Nick Snyder made a video about it as well, but maybe a few other people too. But there's the tea on that. So what I thought I was going to do today is I would also rate and show you my 10 favourite problematic influencer palettes. I do not have any Jaclyn Hill palettes, unfortunately. I actually really did like the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette though. I thought that one was actually really cool. Loved the colour story because it was all reds, pinks, purples, bit of yellow, orange, hot colours. It was actually really nice, vibrant colours. Something that I would actually like to wear. The other ones that she's done, I'm not keen on. They're a bit too muted for my tastes. Yeah, they've got some pops of colour in them, but they're not really for me, so I've just never bought them. Thank God, because hey, so many people are finding mould in them. Anyway, so let's get into my problematic YouTuber favourite palettes. Now, these are all pretty much problematic YouTubers. Some I still support, some I don't. I'm still waiting for my Nikita Dragon palette because hey, I need to be a bad bitch. Good morning, bad bitch. I love it. I love that catchphrase. I don't know why. I always get up and say it to myself. Good morning, bad bitch. I love it. Anyway, we are going to start with the most problematic of problematic YouTubers, Jeffree Star. So, Blood Sugar palette. This palette, whatever you think of Jeffree Star himself, this is about the palettes, okay? So this Blood Sugar palette I have used for ages. It was actually the first Jeffree Star palette I ever bought. You guys, you'll clown me for having a Jeffree Star picture in the background up there. Yep, that is Jeffree Star, you're correct. It's a collage, it's got Jeffree Star, Lady Gaga, there's some YSL knitwear on there as well. all kinds of stuff. I was a fashion student and, you know, I took inspiration from everywhere, really. But back to this. This was the first Jeffree Star palette that I ever actually bought. Nearly dropped it then. First Jeffree Star palette that I ever bought. I had some lipsticks and some mirrors and other bits and pieces at the time, but I'd never really been able to afford the palettes. So when I could afford the palettes, this, I was like, yeah, I've got to have it. And I actually bought this, I think it was just a couple of months after it came out. I went and bought it from Beautylish, but I still love this palette. The colour story is gorgeous. You can see it's all red, pink, and you can see all my lovely brush marks in there as well. I've done well though. I've made it last. I do love the colour story still. I think it's gorgeous. I think the pigment is really good. The formula is really nice. You know, like I said, whatever anybody thinks about Jeffree Star, this is a banging palette. We are going to move on to further on down the line with Jeffree Star. This year, in fact, this one, the cremated palette. I really do love this one. This is my teenage gothic fantasy. Oh, there we go. So this is all the grey, black, white. I just love that there are so many different finishes and textures in this palette. All the different formulas. This one, Pallbearer, this is like straight up glitter. Angel of Death as well. Yeah, the names are a bit controversial, but overall, I did really, really love this palette, and I still do. So, you know, I'm not someone who's gonna throw the makeup away or whatever just because I don't want to support that YouTuber anymore. I'm gonna keep the makeup, keep using it, because at the end of the day, I bought the makeup at the time because I like the makeup. So to me, it makes no sense to throw it away just because I don't like the person behind it anymore. I'm still going to continue to use the things that I've bought. And now we're going to move on to the Jawbreaker palette. Yep, we're staying with Jeffree Star here for the moment. They're not all Jeffree Star, but quite a few of his are in here because they are genuinely some of my favourite palettes. So we have got the Jawbreaker palette. There we go. So that was the super colourful. That was his version of the rainbow palette. And I really loved it when it came out because it was a little bit different to a traditional rainbow, because you got the navies, you got the brown, you had the more sort of pastel colours in it as well. Oh, there we go, like these ones up here. All the shimmers, this orange shimmer. That's actually still a very unusual shade that you don't see in a lot of palettes. So I still really love that one. Use it a lot. I'm just going through my pile of 10 here. They're in no particular order. Next one is Mania Muet's Lunar Beauty. This is the Moonspell palette. I love this one because honestly, from someone like me who's a little bit gothic, I was very gothic back in my teenage years. This being a spell book, I mean, come on. Let's hear it for the packaging and the detail. Woo, look at that. But the colour story of this palette is beautiful. I only actually got to buy this one this year. But look at that colour story. Me, when I use this palette, I go straight to that top row. You can see I like purple. I love the green shades in it. This one, and these I love. Absolutely love. I'm not really much of a neutral palette person myself. I'm more of like bold colour. But I will use like the neutral kind of brown shades and things. But only when I'm really like going to work at my retail job or something like that. Otherwise, I'm like, yeah, give me all the colour, give me drag, give me the glitter, whatever, you know. So next one, moving on. It is another Jeffree Star one. Just warn you. The Alien palette. This is the shit. This is a cool tone palette. But the colour story really stuck out to me with this one. It's unique. It's not something that you see everywhere. The duochrome like shimmers in it are really, really beautiful. Like if you just put them on the lid, they're stunning. Absolutely stunning. So say what you like about the guy, but he's got some good palettes. And next up, Mama Mitchell and Beauty Bay. They did this collaboration together. Mitchell, honestly, he's not problematic in my opinion. He's had a few little kind of mini dramas here and there, but nothing really on the James Charles or Jeffree Star level, or Manny MUA or Laura Lee. None of that. He has had none of those big scandals. He's somebody who I think actually likes to stay out of the drama. So this palette, I'll open it up for you. This one is so bold. You can see, so bold, so beautiful. It is a pressed pigment palette, so the colour payoff is actually really, really good. Really good. There we are, and that's the cool side. This palette is one that I actually reach for quite a lot. In love with it, honestly. Still, I think it was about, what was it, a year and a half ago when this one came out. But you can't actually buy this one anymore, so I'm really glad I managed to grab one of those. And the next one on my list is actually another Beauty Bay influencer palette. The Beauty Bay Nikki Tutorials palette. This one, you guys have probably seen this before in one of my videos because I use it a lot. There we are, that's her. Ooh, sorry, I'm trying to show you. There we go. So that is her. You've got the light side, the dark side. Honestly, again, this one being a pressed pigment palette. Oh, there we go. The light's better over there. Pressed pigment palette. So really, really good colour payoff. Same as the Mitchell one that I just showed you. Really good colour payoff. The shimmers in it. This one. This. It is incredible. This one is called Pride. And this one that's called All In down here. I don't know if it's... Oh, probably not going to pick up on my phone, but it's got like a green tint. It is just a really, really beautiful, colourful palette. There we are. And this is actually one of the less expensive ones in my pile here as well. But honestly, this year I've been using this since I got it. No regrets. Love that palette. And again, Nikki Tutorials, I don't think of her as somebody who is extremely problematic, but I've put it in this list because she's another YouTuber and I'm talking about YouTuber palettes. So now we have another Mama Mitchell. Of course, he launched his own brand this year, and honestly, when I saw this, I fell in love. I had to buy her. There we go. This is a stunning palette. Look at the colour story. I've got purple in there, kind of plummy purple. I've got my greens, the teal, the yellow. This is just something I looked at and said, yes, I have to have that. No regrets at all. This is a stunning, gorgeous palette. Again, this is a pressed pigment palette, so the colour payoff is very good. Right, next up, we are going to go with probably one of the most problematic influencers. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. You know, no hate, but James Charles Morphe palette. Now, you'll probably know what this looks like if you clicked on this video, but whoops, put a sheet up there. That one, I have the big size in it, not the mini one. I still really, really love this palette. I use it because honestly, it is really good colour payoff. You know, I'm quite used to working with some Morphe palettes as well. So for me, this is something that I do keep dipping into. One of my favourite shades in it is this one here called Love That. And I love the pinks. I love this green Social Blade one as well. Whoop. Last but certainly not least, we're going to go with yet another Jeffree Star one because honestly, this is one of my favourite ever palettes. Yeah, okay, Jeffree Star's terrible and all of that, no doubt, but this palette is me in palette form, honestly. I mean, everything about it, the velvet packaging, when you open the palette up, The colour story is just stunning. Honestly, I love as well the shimmery shades in it. These ones, which are Wet Jewel and Pink Magic. And this one here, you can see glittery one here, Executioner. And then you've got the dark sort of purple shades in there, like Dungeon. Today, I've actually used this all over my face, all over my eyes there. So I used Dungeon, I used a bit of Executioner, I used Hiking, this one here, and I also used a bit of Wet Jewel just on the top here, on my brow bone. I used Take the Crown, this shade, my God. There you are, can you see it? It is stunning. It's just in there and on the lid there as well. Whoop. Then I actually also used Royal Pain, which is this one just up here. See that shimmer? That is the Wet Jewel shimmer. And then Royal Pain, I also used it for blush. And this shade down here, Betrayal, this one is stunning. This is absolutely one of my favourite all-time palettes ever. I think probably my favourite palette ever. Now, it pains me to say it because Jeffree Star is such a shitbag, but this palette is just me. And it's sad that Jeffree Star is, you know, unable to take accountability for his actions and all of that, but some of these problematic YouTubers, I do believe their actions will catch up with him in the end. So guys, I'm going to say goodbye. Take care. Thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far. Love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting my channel this far. Love you so much. Bye guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care. Stay safe. Stay well. See ya.